What is more important? What you fuel with or when you fuel? I know,
It's a trick question.
I'm glad that I asked you that. I'm Becs Gentry, and as you will see, I'm not running and we are not talking about recipes today. We are here to have a conversation about fueling and nutrition when you are training for your marathon. I am joined by a wonderful friend, a very well qualified colleague, Dr. Jamie Schehr.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for us to have this conversation.
All right, Jamie, let's talk about the pillars of nutrition when it comes to running. And I want to start off with my favorite, carbs.
Yes, let's do it. Carbs are the foundation of our energy, right? We eat carbs. They are readily stored as energy and available to us for the run. So we can't talk about marathon nutrition without talking about carbs.
Exactly.
You want to think about carbs as fast carbohydrates, readily available very quickly, and you want to think about carbohydrates that are digested more slowly, right? And what we can do is we can separate them and space them out. We can think about carbohydrates that are readily available for you. They tend to have less fiber, and those are the ones you would have right before you go out for a run. Whereas some more complex carbohydrates are going to be the carbohydrates we have about 90 minutes before our run. That is going to help us increase what we call our glycogen stores, right? Which is the energy available to our body for running. So carbohydrates are literally the foundation of nutrition when it comes to running.
Can we talk a bit about how we process that and what it is that makes carbohydrates turn into good energy?
All sugars are carbohydrates, right? But not all carbohydrates have that much sugar in them.
There we go.
So what you're describing is differentiating foods that are higher amounts of sugar versus ones that are carbohydrates, but maybe not as high.
Could you give an example?
Sure. So something like honey would be a carbohydrate with a higher amount of glucose and sugar available for the run. And something like brown rice would be a carbohydrate with much lower sugar, but both still carbohydrates.
So I used to run on empty many years ago, which I have now learned is the worst thing. From there, I went to progressing, and you're going to laugh at this. It was rye toast with mashed avocado on top, and on top of that, I put sliced strawberries. So I was thinking I was getting my sugar, if you like, there. And that never worked.
So what's your favorite pre-run meal now?
Oatmeal.
Okay.
With honey on, peanut butter, and banana.
Do you keep the peanut butter smaller to avoid the fats?
Very small. It's literally
Flavor.
just because I like the taste and it makes me feel happy if I'm nervous before a run and I'm not just like, ugh. It's the tiniest
And what's your timing on this?
I would say I probably have my breakfast about an hour and a half before I'm going to start my race.
Okay, so you're bringing up a really important point, which is, generally speaking, we want to think about 30 grams of protein and about 60 or more grams of carbohydrates, 90 or more minutes before long training, right? So 30, 60, 90. Your body doesn't want to digest foods and run at the same time.
No.
So what happens to a lot of runners, if they put too much food and then they start to run, it's like called runner's colitis, right? Then all of a sudden they're finding themselves very quickly needing the bathroom. But generally speaking, if we do this 90 minutes before, we're in the safe zone.
Yeah, and we'd rather have it than not have it. So we're not saying if you're an hour out from your run, don't
still eat it.
Just still eat, but maybe take it slow and take some toilet paper.
So,
all right. So why is protein another pillar of this nutritional powerhouse?
we are talking about strength training and building muscle and staying healthy through our elder years. But specifically when we're talking about marathon training, we've just talked a lot about how carbohydrates are the readily available fuel. Well, when you're running, your muscle tears a little bit. It's supposed to, right? The way that we build and the way that our muscles get stronger is these little micro tears. The amino acids in protein are actually what repair those micro tears. So if somebody's running, whether it's 5 miles or 15 miles, we want to make sure that after that run, they have the specific nutrition to then repair any of the intentional damage that was done to the muscle.
And that is so key to success over a long drawn out program. You don't want to be in pain from the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness that you can get from starting some new movements.
When we talk about hydration, we're talking about two things. We're talking about drinking enough and making sure that we are also drinking electrolytes.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about electrolytes, right? If you're just chugging water and water and water and you're sweating a lot, you're losing electrolytes in your sweat.
Because
your
you're kind
sodium,
of
potassium.
watering it down.
Correct. And then you're taking in all this water and now you're still electrolyte dehydrated. So this is where electrolytes come in. But the electrolytes are what allow the muscles to contract, right? So a lot of times you'll see people in a race, they say they drank so much water, but their muscles are cramping and they're falling and they can't finish the run.
I think in the past for me, I suffered from hyponatremia for years and it's debilitating. After a race, I was very close to being hospitalized once and I just did not understand it because everybody had talked to me about dehydration. And nobody had explained to me the overhydration,
without the electrolytes.
the electrolytes.
You know, a lot of people get confused because sodium has such a negative rap.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Low sodium, it's too much salt.
Yeah.
But when you are marathon training, nutrition is so important and carbs and proteins are so important. But hydration is the most important because it is the area that we need to practice the most safety.
What are the first things, nutrition-wise, that people can somewhat easily make the switches to support themselves?
So the first thing, which we talked about, is carbohydrates, right? Making sure that you have about 60 grams of carbohydrates in a meal if you are starting off with distance running.
What would that look like? Like what is that, a portion of like a cup of rice?
That might look like having a cup of fruit and some honey on some Greek yogurt. If we're going to talk about then the protein. It might look like having a sandwich that has 2 slices of bread and then maybe a cup of fruit on the side. So it's not hard to hit that 60 grams of carbohydrates. But I think it's important to remind people to be intentional.
All right, final question for you.
Okay.
What is more important? What you fuel with or when you fuel? I know,
It's a trick question.
I'm glad that I asked you that. Yeah.
What you fuel with matters as much as when you fuel, right? Because we just talked about it. You could eat all the food, but if you're not eating it around the right time, it's not available to you for energy. Or you could eat all the wrong food and then you can't even make it through the race. I'm going to say both. I can't pick.
Me neither.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm like, no, I can't.
That's like when someone's like carbs or protein. I'm like, what?
No,
both.
They are married.
Just different
They're a couple.
We don't differentiate.
No, they're in love. Let them be.
Nutrition is one of the most important foundations in being able to train for a marathon. So we hope that you learned a lot here today. And I'm going to pass it off to you, Becs. Why don't you tell us kind of what your closing advice would be around training and nutrition?
Oh my gosh. Well, take heed of everything Dr. Jamie has told us today. Try it all out within your training process. Those weeks are for you to get better in every single way on this journey. This conversation is going to continue over this series. We're going to be breaking down more and more of those themes that you guys want to hear about with regards to fueling and hydration and recovery and training. So stay tuned and we can't wait to see you again.